This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans. 1979-82 carryover league. We are back in the divisional round of the American League. And tonight we got a really fascinating series to begin with the Milwaukee Brewers and the California Angels. The Milwaukee Brewers, a 3 seed, facing the number 2 Angel, 2 seed. By the way, Milwaukee had a chance to have a bye earlier as the season was winding down, and they slumped against Kansas City, lost the bye. Angels got it. Doesn't matter. Milwaukee won the wild card game against Baltimore. And so here we are, other than the Angels have home field advantage in a 5-game series. Games 1 and 2 and 5 in Anaheim. So that's what Milwaukee, kind of squandered. But frankly, this is a really fascinating matchup. We know these teams faced each other in 1982. It was a good series. Milwaukee won that to go to a World Series. By the way, folks, if you beat the California Angels in the League Championship Series, it doesn't look very good. Baltimore beat the Angels in 79. Brewers beat the Angels in 82. Boston beat the Angels in 1986. They all lost the World Series. Interesting part of baseball that kind of gets forgotten a little bit. Let's take a look at the overall standings just to show the records how they got to this spot. Really, it was the California Angels just ascended while the other division teams faded, particularly the Rangers. Rangers actually had a really good shot at winning this thing, then faded terribly down the stretch, missing the playoffs altogether. Oakland did get a play-in game, but they lost it to Baltimore. And the Angels were the beneficiary, getting all the way to a 2 spot. And you see the Brewers, they had to beat Baltimore in that wild card game just to get a similar number of games over 500. But, they're the number 3 as the number 2. For the first finalist in the League Championship Series, what these two teams are playing for. And the rotations, after a day off, both teams will be fresh pitching. They're going to go with their aces, Mike Caldwell from Milwaukee in Game 1, then Pete Vukovich in Game 2, Moose Haas to pitch the wild card game in Game 3, Jim Slayton in 4, a day off, and back to Mike Caldwell. While the Angels will go with Nolan Ryan, their ace, Dave Frost, Ross Baumgarten, Mike Witt. And Nolan Ryan and Caldwell would do a rematch in Game 5 if necessary. So that's what we have up for grabs. We're going to show you Game 1. Then after that, at the end of the video, we will pick up in a clinching kind of moment live for you all. And so let's get started here. Mike Caldwell, we'll go flash him up. He was in 79, 16-6 with a 3.29 ERA and 235 innings. His best year was probably 78. I think he won 22 games, but he's still good here. And for the Angels, this is Nolan Ryan. So in 79, it's really kind of bittersweet for the Angels that when Nolan Ryan arrived in 72 and when he left in 79, he probably had his 2 best seasons. In between, he struck out a lot of batters, walked a lot of batters, and was a 500 pitcher. But, hey, he guided the Angels to the League Championship Series against Baltimore. So 16-14 with a 3.59 ERA and 223 innings. His final year here in California, they lost the World Series to the Dodgers a year ago. They want to get back before we have to ship Nolan Ryan off to the Houston Astros. So let's get started. Milwaukee at California. Leading off for the Brewers, it's Paul Molitor. 2-9 grounds to short. Sixto Lezcano grounds to third. Robin Yount, 1-8, double 1 of 10, 2 base hit for the 1982 American League Most Valuable Player. With 2 outs, runner in scoring position for Cecil Cooper. 67 off of Ryan. Single 1 to 3. Line out the rest. That's a line out the rest. That's one of the results on this Ryan card, which makes me think it's one of his best cards in the last 4 years at least. He doesn't walk too many guys, and the hit chances are minimal, as you can imagine. Bottom of the first, for the Angels, it'll be Bill Almon. 4-4, center X, but you got Gorman Thomas, the 1E4 in center field. One of the 4 1 defenders on this Milwaukee team. That's right, folks. They have Yount, Cooper, Gorman Thomas, Sixto Lezcano, all 1s. Plus you have Gantner and Bando are 2s. So, real great defense from Milwaukee. I think most people must have forgotten about that. Brian Downing here. 3-11 for Brian is a hit by the pitch. Now you got Ron Jackson. 58 short X, and this is Yount. And the E rating is 26 for Yount. And oh, he kicks the ball. Should have been an inning double play, but it's an error on Robin Yount. First big break in the divisional round here. And the inning continues. It's Doug DeCinces. 2-5 for DeCinces is double 1 to 14. That's a 2-base hit, and the Angels get on the board. Second and third for your 1979 MVP. We got MVPs all over the place. Don Baylor. 2-8 grounds to short, and that will score another run. And with 2 outs, it'll be Bobby Grich. 47 center. Angels get a break in the first inning on the error and lead 2-0. Gorman Thomas, 55 Ks. Ben Oglivie, 56 Ks. Charlie Moore, 5'10", catcher's card. You got Blackwell's a 3 catcher, makes the play. And here is Tim Blackwell, signed in free agency to the Angels to give Brian Downing a break. 33, he bounces to third. Disco Dan Ford, 57, single 1 to 4, and he can't get it. Bill Sample, 1-7, skies the center field. We go to the third. It's Jim Gantner, 1-7, single 1 to 9, he can't get it. Sal Bando, 58 is a K, and with 2 outs, back up top, it's Paul Molitor, 38, ground short, bottom of the third. Bill Almon, 1-5, is single 1 to 9, cannot get it, rolls an 11. Brian Downing, 45, flies to right. Ron Jackson, 1-6, double 1 to 4, base hit. With 2 outs, it's DeCinces, had the big double in the first inning. 5-10 is catcher's X. Charlie Moore is the Brewer catcher today, a 3-6 catcher. And the inning's over. We'll go to the fourth. 2 outstanding offenses that we expect fireworks from, but the pitchers have them hemmed in today. Sixto Lezcano, 38's a walk. And now Robin Yount, doubled in the first. 1-5, Robin Yount. Did we show you the card? I can't remember. I guess we did. Maybe we didn't. Let's take a look. So there you are, Robin Yount, all through the adventure today. A double on the 1-8 earlier, an error on the E26 to give the Brewers the Angels a couple runs, and then here 1-5 automatic. It is gone. One of Robin's 29 home runs in his MVP year, and that error is soon forgotten as the game is tied at 2 apiece. Cecil Cooper, 32, third. Gorman Thomas, 47 is a K. And Ben Oglivie, 46, is a K. Pretty high chance with Thomas and Oglivie and Nolan Ryan all tied together in this. You're going to get a homer, a walk, or a strikeout. Pretty reasonably high chance here. KKKK. Bottom of the fourth, Don Baylor. 57 off Caldwell, single 1 to 4 chance, and they miss it again. Bobby Grich, 6'12", for the second baseman, bounces back to the mound. And Blackwell, 39 singles. Disco Dan Ford, 69, another single to left field. Caldwell will put base runners on, mostly singles. But you got the number 9 hitter, Bill Sample, with runners at first and second and 2 outs. 38, let's take a look at Bill Sample. Yes, old Bill Sample used to play for the Rangers. A good corner outfield guy with, doesn't make a lot of errors, doesn't have a good throwing arm. But he hit 292 in 1979 for the Texas Rangers, who had a glutton of outfielders, and so the Angels were able to pick him up, mostly to be a defensive backup for Don Baylor, but he gets a start today. And 38 is a single to left field. Now Blackwell is a 9-runner. 9, 10, 11. Ogilvy 0 arm, but it's playoff time, folks. He's going to run. And he scores on the 11. So the slow-footed Tim Blackwell, with 2 outs, scores the run off of a neutral 0-arm outfielder, and the Angels retake the lead. Dan Ford ends up at third base. Back up top, Bill Almone. 38 Almone is single ... and so Caldwell, like I said, gives up a lot of singles, but these singles are kind of been poisonous this inning as they're getting 2 runs off 4 of them, and it's 4-2. You got runners on the corners, have to hold Almone, and the dangerous 326 batting average of Brian Downing at the plate. 67 off of Caldwell is a base hit to right field that will score another run. Almone, 17, will not take on Lezcano's arm to go to third. He'll stay put at second. They've had a nice inning thus far. It's 5-2, and you have Ron Jackson. Let's take a look at Ron, because Ron Jackson hit 331. These 2 teams really have 2 of the best offenses we may have ever seen in Strat when you go over the period of 4 years. By the way, the Angels, they don't have Rod Carew here, if you noticed. They don't need him. They don't have Reggie Jackson here. They don't need him. They don't have Fred Lynn here. Nope. That's all right. You guys do whatever you want to do. Angels are fine with this lineup of 300 hitters and guys who hit 20, 30 home runs. My goodness, folks. Ron Jackson, 331 hitter, and he's on his 82 card, so that's a 4-year contract to play first base for the Angels, which is why the Twins actually sent Rod Carew to the Toronto Blue Jays instead. So that's how that story played out. And here is the pitch to Ron Jackson. 2-7 is short A plus, but there's no one being held at first. So it's a 3-run inning on 5 singles. 5-2 Angels into the 5th. It'll be Charlie Moore leading off. 1-9 for Moore, double 1-8, it's a 2-base hit. Jim Gantner, 57, is a walk. And now the Brewers will bring the tie run up in Sal Bando. 64 off of Nolan Ryan's card, folks. Homer, 1 of 12, double the rest. He cannot convert the homer. It's off the top of the wall for a 2-base hit. 1 run scores. Gantner from first, 14 runner. Danforth's got a -1 arm. There's no one out. He gets the stop sign at third base, and the Brewers come right back again. Like I said, folks, these offenses, man, it's going to be like last team with the ball, you know? 2 minutes left in the game, and you're the last team with the ball going down for a game-tying field goal or a game-winning touchdown. That's really what the Brewers Angels are all about. 5-3, second and third, nobody out. And oh, by the way, back up top, you have to bring it up for A. Bunning, Paul Molitor. They're a 302 hitting designated hitter. Here's the pitch to Molitor. 2-9 is a grounder to short. Then the runners hold up. So second and third with 1 out now. 2-run lead. You really could play it back against Les. No, you can't. I'm sorry. He's also an A-bunner. So is Robin Yount. So is Cecil Cooper. So is Jim Gantner and a Molitor. So this team, they can play small ball with you. They can steal some bases, and they can hit 200 and some odd homers. Harvey Wallbangers, one of the best home run hitting teams ever assembled. So yeah, the Brewers can beat you in many different ways. Angels are going to bring the infield up with 1 out, with runners at second and third. And here's the pitch to 6-0 Lezcano. 39, left B question mark. Now we can run Gantner. 14, 15, 16. Against the sample arm makes it a 17, and he scores. It's 5-4. Runner at second. Robin Yount, a double and a homer so far today. Here's the pitch. 63. Pitcher X, Ryan's an E26. And that is an error, and that will put runners on the corners. You have to hold Yount. And oh, by the way, the .352 bat of Cecil Cooper. 1-7, let's take a look at it, folks. 1980, Cecil Cooper. If there was no George Brett, this man's probably your 1980 American League Most Valuable Player with 25 homers and a .352 average, Gold Glove capable first baseman. His best year. 1-7, triple 1-2 double. Now we're going to run you out. Who's a 15 runner, 16-17 against the -1 over Ford on a 16. And he's thrown out on an 18. What a wild one we have here, folks. We got it. All we have is a tie game is what we have. Robin Yount gets thrown out at the plate by Disco Dan Ford. And it's only 5-5 in the 5th. My goodness. This is going to be a wild series, it looks like. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right, the Angels in a boxing match here. Both teams have been on the canvas in this one. Doug DeCinces will lead off in the bottom of the 5th against Caldwell. 1-8 is a walk. Don Baylor. 1-6. Let's take a look at the Baylor card. 36 homers for your MVP of 1979 and a .296 average. Folks, I hope you're enjoying this. This is some of the best offense you're going to see on in my league, as these two teams have somehow summoned each other. That is gone, and now it's 7-5. And Caldwell's not really going anywhere. It's like, whatever. 7, 8, 9, 10 runs, doesn't matter too much. I'm a starter 9. Caldwell's a starter 9. He literally could give up 15 hits in this game. And point of weakness for Caldwell is going to be like 15 base runners through 5 innings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He only has 10. So he'll continue. Bobby Grich. 57, that's single chance. And this time they hit it. Well, that's not good for him. 1-4 shot. And they convert, finally. Blackwell. 1-9 for Blackwell. Double right field. Grich will just hold tight at third base. This was like another bat-around chance for the Angels. Second and third, nobody out. Disco Dan Ford, they're playing back. 54. Pops the second. With 1 out, they're going to bring it up for A-bunting Bill Sample. You saw his card earlier. 68, another single off of this Caldwell card to center. Blackwell will hold up at third. It is 8-5 with runners on the corners and 1 out. They're going to bring it up for Bill Almone. Now, if you bat around in an inning, I call that point of weakness for any pitcher. So that's what Caldwell has to deal with here. He has to get some outs pretty darn quickly. Bill Almone, 36, is single ... and it's not happening, folks. There's runners on the corners with 1 out. And maybe you just should cut your losses now and not make it so difficult in your attempted comeback from a 4-run deficit. It's 9-5, runners on the corners, and we are pulling the plug on Caldwell. There's just only so much you can take, folks. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hits in the last inning and a third, plus another one there and another one there. So he's gone after 4 1/3 innings. Wow. So much for my league earned run average. That is taking a pounding. And the Brewers have a decent bullpen. They're going to go Larry Anderson. Longtime reliever. Anderson played all over baseball. He was with the Mariners in 1981. 3-3, 2.65 ERA in 68 innings. Trying to stop the bleeding here. You know, stay within a grand slam is kind of the cardinal rule here. Larry Anderson comes on in the 5th. He will face Brian Downing. They're going to bring the infield up with runners in the corners and 1 out. And here's the pitch to Brian Downing. 1-7. Let's take a look, folks, because I probably will show you every card, because it looks like every card in the game is going to do something offensively. So Brian Downing hit .326 with 12 homers, 77 walks in 1979. Could have been considered the best player on his team, but the league voted Don Baylor as the most valuable player of the league. And some people believe that Fred Lynn, Boston center fielder, who hit 39 home runs with a .339 batting average and was a Gold Glove caliber center fielder versus the designated hitter, Don Baylor. Should have been league MVP. So, frankly, it doesn't really matter for these Angels because you could give Bobby Grich the MVP if you really want to. You know, Bobby Grich, Downing, Ron Jackson, they all just kill it. 1-7 against Larry Anderson is double 1 to 11. That's single ... That does score sample. We have runners on the corners. It is 10-5. If we're if the scoreboard's still working and hasn't burnt out yet. We have runners on the corners. Going to bring it up for Ron Jackson. 48 off Anderson is second X with the infield up. Big moment here for Gantner. Got to stop the bleeding. 2-16 second base when he does. So the runners go second and third with 2 outs, and it'll be Doug DeCinces. 2-8 is a K. So Larry Anderson does a nice job there. And we have a 10-5 game, and the Brewers are like, sounds good to me. Softball league, here we go. Top of the 6th. Now with Nolan Ryan, you just don't want to be walking guys with a 5-run lead and make it so easy for the Brewers in their comeback attempt. So let's see what we got here. Gorman Thomas will lead off in the top of the 6th. 33, and we have contact, folks. It's a fly ball to right, so it's not a home run, it's not a walk, it's not a strikeout. Ben Oglivie, 68, that's a walk. 1 on, Charlie Moore. 2-4, 6-4-3 double play. That'll help Ryan tremendously. All right, 10-5. Anderson continues in the 6th against Don Baylor. 2-12, third. Bobby Grich, 2-5, short. And Blackwell, 39, single 1 to 14, lines out on an 18. All right, we go to the 7th. Nolan Ryan's a starter 8. It'll be Jim Gantner. 2-3, pops the first. Bando, Sal Bando, 34, pops the second. And Nolan Ryan's kind of figured this thing out, you think. Once he got this 8-run support in the middle innings. Paul Molitor, 57, is a walk. So much for that. Not going to steal down 5. Here's the pitch to Lezcano. 2-12, bouncer to third. And the Brewers are now stumbling down 5 here. 7th inning stretch time here in California. We are enjoying the Fleetwood Mac 79 LP Tusk, which has 84 songs on it and is about 5 hours long. So that's good to know, you know, if, I don't know, you're stuck on an island or something. I don't know. So, yeah, if you really want 13 versions of Tusk to consider, which is the best, this is what you want to do. You want to kind of like dial this up. It just keeps going on like this, folks. Disc 4, disc 5. It just keeps going like this. Keeps just more and more and more Tusk. Maximum Tusk for you tonight. Back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. With a 5-run lead, now I'm starting to think that we really like Larry Anderson in this Milwaukee bullpen, and maybe we should conserve his arm and pull him and try something else. So we're going to go put Bill Travers in, the long man, in the 7th inning. Another lefty, but, you know, got to start conserving pitching here. Bill Travers in 1980 was pretty good, actually. 12-6, 3.92 ERA in 154 innings. No spot in the rotation for him. They move him to the bullpen, has done a decent job. He comes on in the 7th. Bottom half of, it'll be Disco Danford. 2-10, flies left. Bill Sample, 2-6, grounds to short, and back up top to Bill Almone. A lot of Bills. Bills, Billies, and Bobbies, and okay. Bill Almone, 48, flies to left. Nice relief pitching for the Brewers. Something to think about as the series progresses. And maybe, you know, maybe Mike Caldwell, you know, we don't have him pitch a deciding Game 5 if, you know, as a starter they load up against left-handed pitchers as they've done. Ryan in the 8th. This is his breaking inning. Angels bullpen is pretty mediocre, folks. The thing about this Angel team is they just bash you and then they don't do much else. They don't defend very well. Their bench isn't very good. The bullpen's not very good, but like I said, the bashing is really, really good. It really makes up for a lot of other inadequacies on this California team. In the 8th inning, Robin Yount has yet to be retired. And here's the pitch to Robin. 57, off of Ryan is ball 4. That's what you don't want to do. That's just too easy. Cecil Cooper, he had a doubles last time up. 2-9, pops to first. And here's Gorman Thomas. 1-5, there's his K. So he struck out 3 times today. And Ben Ogilvy, 68, that's another walk. So here we are, the breaking point batter is Charlie Moore. Nolan Ryan's final batter here in the 8th inning. Chance to cut it to a 2-run lead if he goes yard. The pitch to Charlie Moore. 2-10, he bounces to third base. So Ryan, you saw a walk, 4 walks in 3 innings, par for the course. He's going to leave after 8. Bottom of the 8th, we'll leave Travers in there. He's the long man. Brian Downing, 46, short X. 1-20, another error on Yount. Something to start to watch now as this series progresses. Ron Jackson, 1-5. You saw the card earlier. Homer 1-11, and it is gone. Ron Jackson today, 2 for 5. Reached on air and scored single, and this 2-run homer off his card, off Bill Travers. Whew. Boy, the damage against lefties. Larry Anderson's been the only guy to really tame the Angels today. Well, let's get it out of their system. Let's leave Travers in to finish this thing. It's pretty much over. 12-5. Doug DeCinces, 69, off of Travers. It's Homer 1-14, and it is gone, and the Angels are having batting practice in Game 1. Now, I've seen this happen a lot, folks. These teams, they win 16-5, and then they lose Game 2, 3-1, and wonder, man, if we just could have had some of those runs in Game 1 and have them carry over to Game 2, but we'll see. Don Baylor, 2-7 is a single. Bobby Grich, 57 is a K. And with 1 out. Tim Blackwell, 39, another single. And they're on the corners for Dan Ford. 5-11 is a K. Generously. Probably could be a point of weakness hit, but he is a relief 3, so I'm being nice. 13-5. Bill Sample with 2 outs. 67. Lions a second. And Ryan will exit plus a 5-run allowed. Complete game is not very fashionable. So John Curtis will come out of the Angel bullpen to finish this thing. And the Brewers will start using some of their bench players. Batting for Jim Gantner will be Easy Ed Romero. 67, that's a Romero single. Sal Bando, 37. That is a 6-4-3 double play. Oh well. And back up top, Demolitor. 35, ball 4. He goes down a second because the Angels don't really care. Les Cano, 53. He bounces to first, and that'll do it. So, we have the experienced California Angels. 2 years ago, they lost the LCS to Baltimore. Baltimore won that World Series. They beat Baltimore in last year's LCS, went to the World Series, lost to the Dodgers. Very experienced California team with virtually, they keep running these same cards back. Against an inexperienced Milwaukee team in Game 1, and it showed. A 13-5 finish. And we'll go to the box score here. Will probably be a different animal once the Brewers start using their right-handed starters. Moose Haas, Pete Vukovich, Jim Slayton on tap. That should, and then eventually, the Brewers destroy lefties more than the Angels destroy lefties, and the Angels have to send Ross Baumgarten out there. So this should be entertaining at least. Nolan Ryan gets the win. 5 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, walked 6, struck out 6. That's about right. Bill Travers in 2 innings, he gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 2 Ks. Larry Anderson, inning and 2/3, gave up a hit and a K. And Mr. Caldwell, yeah, it wasn't very nice to him. It was his first Division Series start. 430 innings, 12 hits, is responsible for, yeah, all of that. 10. That's a 10 burger. I could be nice and make 9 earned, which is kind of, or 8. We'll say 9, being generous again. 2 walks, no strikeouts. 1009 0108 13 17 56 7623 2376. So let's see, how do these Brewers come back from a punch in the mouth? We're going to find out. 32. These are division winners. There's no wild card luckiness here. These are talented teams. I'm expecting a 4 or 5 game series. I'd be very disappointed if the Angels swept them. I don't think it's going to happen, but I really think the Brewers are probably better. At least on paper, the Brewers look better. Just a question of dialing in the lineups and the rotations and the substitutions. I've had a lot of experience with the Angels, so I know how to win with them because they've been in a lot of postseason games the last few years, and well, it shows, folks. You just saw it. The Angels are now 17-10 on the year, hitting .291. And look, folks, they have a team ERA of .303. Ooh. Now we got something to talk about. .303 ERA for the Angels with Nolan Ryan, Dave Frost, Ross Baumgarten, Mike Witt, a bullpen of John Curtis, Paul Mitchell, Danny Boone, and Mark Clear. That is staggeringly overachievement right there. So if they continue to do this, we know this team has that veteran experience to get to a World Series. So if that pitching continues, they're well on their way. 10 home runs for DeCinces leads this team. 29 RBIs by him as well in 27 games. He's their MVP. See what I mean? Doug DeCinces, didn't even mention him. He didn't come aboard until 82, so he wasn't in that MVP discussion of 79. He was still in Baltimore. Leading hitter for the Angels, Tim Blackwell. Are you kidding me? So the number 8 hitting catcher, switch hitting catcher, who played for the Cubs, I believe, has 37 hits to pace this team. He's 37 for 97. All you Tim Blackwell fans out there, congratulations. 381 average for the backup catcher, qualifying for the batting title if there was such a thing. And your Brewers, they're now 17-12, I believe. Yes, a full game behind the Angels overall. Your Brewers, they're hitting .280. Their ERA is .374 after giving up 12 earned runs in the game you just saw. So statistically, they are going to fall a little bit behind the Angels. They got a good closer. Tom Hume signed away from Cincinnati with 7 saves. Mike Caldwell's 2-5. So therein lies the problem because the rest of the rotation, Moose Haas, Pete Vukovich, Jim Slayton, is 10-2. So maybe they could have Haas pitch Game 5 on 3 days of rest if you want to maybe pass on Caldwell a second time around after what we just saw. Home runs, surprisingly, no one has more than 7. And that is Robin Yount with 25 RBI. Cooper's got 28 RBI. Cooper has 46 hits to pace this team. He's 46 for 118. He's hitting .390. That's funny. That's what George Brett hit in the same year, Cooper. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So there you go, folks. Congratulations to the Angels. You win Game 1. You're up 1-0. So stay tuned. We'll put you into some live action in the deciding moments of this series between the exciting Milwaukee Brewers and California Angels. Thanks for checking this stuff out. We'll see you soon. Okay, baseball fans, this is the box score of Game 1. The Angels pounding the Brewers 13-5. And we'll just take you to what's been going on here. Game 2 in California. And this Game 2, this is one of those, like, how do you play Strat-O-Matic baseball games? This is one of these peculiar games that was so hard to manage and officiate, and there's so much bizarre crap that happened in here. Let's just take you through this thing. Let's go to the bottom of the first. After an out, Ron Jackson, Doug DeCinces, and Bobby Grich all walk. Bases loaded, 1 out, ground ball short X to Robin Yount. You saw him have his problems in game 1. 2-base error. So instead of an inning double play, it's a 2-base error, scoring 2 runs. And then you get a sac fly, and the Angels have 3 runs on no hits. Okay, well, you saw game 1. So what do you think happens in the 3rd inning? After Charlie Moore reaches, Robin Yount, next time he's in the batter's box, he crushes a home run. He did it in game 1, does it again, so it's 3-2. This time, Cecil Cooper follows it up with a solo shot, and it's 3-3. And in this really weird, bizarre game, Milwaukee Brewer pitcher Pete Vukovich gave up 3 runs in the 1st inning without a hit. He would pitch 9 innings in this game, give up just 2 more hits, no earned runs, but he walked 9 and struck out 3 and lasted 9 innings. So I don't even know what to officiate. How do you is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. 14 base runners in 9 innings because the Angels just fell asleep trying to knock him out. They had multiple men on every inning, it seemed. While that's happening, by the way, Dave Frost, he's doing a nice job. He goes 9 innings. He gives up 7 hits, the 3 runs on those homers, 4 walks, and 6 Ks. Okay, so basically 2 starter 7s. Actually, Vukovich is a starter 6. So a starter 6 and starter 7 are just left in there because neither team can capitalize on them since the 3rd inning. And they have to leave the game after 9. So they leave the game. California goes to Mark Clear, the closer. And if you're expecting him to walk 3 or 4 guys, you would be wrong. 3 innings of relief for Mark Clear. 2 hits, a walk, and 4 Ks. And yet the Angels, in the bottom half of those innings, are up against a lefty, Bob McClure. You saw what they did to Mike Caldwell in game 1. They crushed that lefty. But what does Bob McClure do in 3 innings of relief? He gives up a hit and 2 walks. So now we're in the 13th inning of this thing, and the Angels have maxed out their starting pitcher and they've maxed out their closer. And beyond that, it's John Curtis, Paul Mitchell, and Danny Boone. You might as well just pull names out of a hat. I mentioned earlier how great California's offense is, but they got so many weaknesses on this roster, so many questionable, and so Danny Boone, that's his name, Danny Boone. What's his stats? The stats aren't really that bad, really. Dan Boone, he was 1-0 with a 2.86 ERA and 63 innings for the Padres in 81. He comes on in the 13th. You get a walk, a fielder's choice, another walk, and then a sac fly, and then a hit, and the inning's over. So he did give up a run, but he wasn't horrible. And in the bottom half of the inning, Tom Hume comes in, 3 up and 3 down. And that's your ball game. Simple as that. In the 13th inning, Dan Boone comes in, gets up a run, and that's the game. The Brewers tie the series up. So, Angels 4 runs on 10 hits. They walked 8 times, struck out 10. Angels 3 runs on 6 hits. They walk 11 times, only strike out 3 times. 19 walks between the 2 teams, only 7 runs score. And the Brewers even the series in a very bizarre game. The Angels, 3 runs on no hits in the 1st inning, and then the next 12 innings, they don't do anything. After scoring, was that 16 runs in game 1, or was it 13? 16-5, 13-5, I don't remember what that was. So, game 3, back in Milwaukee. Can the Angels get a road win in this? It's, unfortunately, a left-handed starting pitcher. Ross Baumgarten going into Milwaukee against Moose Haas. And if you think Baumgarten's going to get lit up, you're correct. There's nothing to do here except watch. Cooper singles, Lezcano 2-run bomb. You get a Charlie Moore homer, RBI single Molitor. And then you have RBI double Molitor, 2-run single Thomas, 3-run homer Ogilvy, solo homer Sal Bando, and the Angels just have journeyman to bring in, Paul Mitchell and then Dan Boone again. By the way, Dan Boone this time got the first 5 batters out until the center fielder dropped a fly ball and a run scored. Anyway, the Angels, though, they have no answer. Again, 1 run. Moose Haas, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Bill Travers, 2 innings of just the last 2 innings to complete the game. 12-1 Brewers pound the Angels, who just have played really bad baseball for 2 games. And it took Milwaukee 13 innings to beat them. This time, Milwaukee beat them much more easier. And you're really starting to see that how much better these Brewers are than the Angels. So that brings us today to Game 4. And in Game 4, for the Angels, it's going to be Mike Witt. And for the Brewers, it's Jim Slayton. This gets off to another slow start. Angels juggle their lineup to try and ignite the offense. Bottom of first, Brewers get a couple guys on. They can't score them. We get Bob Molinaro caught stealing in the second. We get Paul Molitor caught stealing in the third. Neither team can ignite their offenses. Until Ben Ogilvy, it's a solo home run in the bottom of the fourth. We got a 1-0 game. Then in the 5th inning, the Brewers get an RBI single by Cooper. And then after an error by the Angels shortstop Tim Flannery, getting a start because he's left-handed. If you've been following, you knew that the Angels have the worst left-handed hitters in the entire league. Arguably the best right-handed hitters, but the worst left-handed hitters. So if you go up against a pitcher who's really good against righties and bad against lefties, you've got an advantage against this Angel team, and it shows. As Slayton had to leave because of an injury when the number 4 hitter, Biff Pocoroba, getting the cleanup assignment for the Angels because he's a switch hitter, gets an injury to Jim Slayton. So that's how you knock the pitcher out of the game. You have your DH roll that injury on 6-12. And so Slayton leaves after 5. Bob McClure came on in with a scoreless 6th. That's where we are, folks. The Brewers, at home, 3rd consecutive well-pitched game. No earned runs in Game 2, 1 earned run in Game 3, no earned runs in Game 4 for the Milwaukee Brewer pitching staff, as I just jinxed it. As we go to the 7th inning, we're going to pick it up right here. Bob McClure in the game for Milwaukee in relief. Mike Witt still in the game for the Angels. We're going to pick this thing up in the top of the 7th inning. Angels are down 2-1 in the series and down 3-0 today. And it will be Biff Pocoroba. 2-6 is a walk. And now you got Doug DeCinces. 1-7, it's called instant offense. It's I stop playing the game, I turn the cameras on for your YouTube folks, and immediately the road team starts killing it. 1-7, let's take a look at Doug DeCinces' card of 1982. 301 with 30 home runs. 1-7, triple one, double the rest. It'll be a 2-base hit. Now you got 2nd and 3rd. And it's Bob Molinaro who does not have a hit on his card against the lefty, McClure. Molinaro will leave. Down 2-1 in the series and down 3-0 in this game. They have to make a move here into the outfield. And it's got to be Bill Sample. Now, I know what you're thinking, pull McClure, but McClure is actually pretty good against righties. Not so good against lefties. Sample, Ron Jackson behind him, Blackwell and Ford. You still have 9 outs to get, and McClure's one of your best relievers. You do have Larry Anderson and Tom Hume. So McClure will continue against Bill Sample with 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. We saw the Cincinnati Reds pull something like this, and it was the Phillies batted around in the top of the 7th inning. So that's what the Angels are going to hope for, that they get some of that Phillies magic that you saw in a previous video. So let's go see here. The pitch to Bill Sample. 2-7 is a grounder to the 3rd. So that's going to hold the runners, and it's going to be Ron Jackson. 2-5, grounds to short. Now, shortstop will score a runner. It'll score the runner from 3rd. The runner from 2nd will stay there with 2 outs, and it's Tim Blackwell. 2-3, grounds to 3rd. All right, bottom of the 7th. Stretch time here in Milwaukee. We've been enjoying listening to Chris Bell's I Am the Cosmos. Chris Bell, a big star. I Am the Cosmos. This is like a collection of his music over the years with demos, alternate versions, acoustic stuff. Chris Bell, the tragic Chris Bell. 27 songs and almost 2 hours of music in a kind of a documentary or compilation kind of thing there. Back to the game. In the bottom of the 7th, Mike Witt, he really has done pretty well. Aside from the Ogilvy homer and his defense letting him down, he will continue. It'll be Paul Molitor. 110 for Molitor is a base hit. Double-A Steeler, 2-run lead. Blackwell still catching. You kind of don't want to take the bat out of Robin Yount's hand, so he'll swing away. 38 for Yount, skies to center. Now you got Cecil Cooper's 1 for 3. 1-8 for Cooper's, double one, single dot. You got runners on the corners with 1 out. You've almost broken Mike Witt. And again, you could go to Clear, who pitched 3 innings, but that was game 2 versus these other guys. But you kind of want Witt to stick around as long as he can in an elimination game here. Runners on the corners. Going to bring it up for Sixto Lezcano. 110. Center be question mark. We're going to run Molitor here. He's a 17, 18, 19, and it's an 18 on the outfielder, and he scores. So that's an insurance run. It's 4-1. And Ben Ogilvy. 49 for Ogilvy. 1-1, single dot. That is single dot. Now you got runners on the corners with 2 outs, and Gorman Thomas. Witt is broken. Boy. I think they're going to... Well, actually, Witt's not good against righties. Now, they got to pull him. 6 2/3. We tried to go as long as we could. We're seeing the limitations of this California roster. That is just not quite as good as the World Series roster a year ago. When you start looking at some of the, reserve players and so forth. The nucleus is fantastic, but you just get stuck and can't make moves you'd like to make. Plus, you're only scoring 1 run, which is not going to work. So Mark Clear is going to come on in the 7th inning. And they'll probably, if they manage to come back and win this game, Nolan Ryan will probably go 9 innings in Game 5. So Mark Clear comes on in the 7th inning. He had his season in 1980, is what we have. 11-11 with a 3.31 ERA, 106 innings. We need him to get the final out if the Angels have any chance here. In a 4-1 game, Mark Clear to Gorman Thomas. Here's the pitch. 4-9, short X. Now, they kind of improve the defense. Almon's in there now. He's a 3 at least. He's a 3.27 shortstop, and that is not going to work. It is going to be a single. The way you score this is that you see the 2 shortstop gives up the single, and he's a 3. You don't need to go any further there. That's a base hit off the fielding rating of the shortstop. That scores Cooper. Ogilvy moves up a bag. It's 5-1, still 2 outs, and it's Charlie Moore. 2-7, pops to second base. 8th inning, 5-1 game. McClure is a relief 3. It's his breaking inning, and it's a series-ending game, you'd think. So they're going to force him to hit his point of weakness before you get him out. In the 8th, all Milwaukee's defense is in. It'll be Disco Dan Ford. 3-12 is hit by the pitch. Back up top, Don Baylor. 68, there's the walk. And here come the Angels. Right on cue. 2 on, nobody out, and the new shortstop, Bill Almond. 1-2, probably hit by a pitch or something like that. No. 1-2 is short B+. With first and second not being held on. That's just a fielder's choice. Puts runners on the corners with 1 out. And it brings up Bobby Grich. A bunter, I got to bring the infield up even though it is a 5-1 game. The pitch to Bobby Grich. 54 off McClure is a sac fly, scoring that runner. So Almon is at first with 2 outs in a 5-2 game, and it'll be Pocarova. 6-10, third X, but this is Bando at 2E19 at third base. He makes the play, and the inning's over. And 3 excellent innings for Bob McClure. Summoned in the 6th because of an injury to Slayton. But Slayton does qualify for a win. In a 5-2 game, bottom of the 8th, Mark Clear continues. Jim Gantner, 4-4, second X. Bobby Grich, 2-14. Thanks to play. Sal Bando, 1-7, center. And with 2 outs. It's back up top to Mahler. Having a great day. 3 for 4. 49, short X. Almon, a 3-27. Another error. Angels have to figure out the shortstop position before next year. And with 2 outs, Robin Yount. 1-11, pops to second. We go to the 9th inning. It's a 5-2 game. And Tom Hume signed away from the Cincinnati Reds in the offseason. Let's take a look at Hume. He's going to come in and try and get the save. In 79, actually, he was still in the rotation for the Reds with a 10-9 record and a 2.76 ERA in 163 innings. Goes to the bullpen by 80, but right now, the Brewers, they really have a bunch of starting pitchers, really. Travers is a starter, McClure's a relief starter, Hume's a starter, plus they have the 4 starters in rotation, so they really could use, the Brewers, a dedicated closer in the future. But Hume's done a pretty good job this year. He's got a 3-run lead to send the Brewers to the League Championship Series. All their defense is in. Leading off in the top of the 9th, it will be DeCinces, who doubled his last at-bat. 1-7, same role he had in the last inning, except it's triple 1-5 against the righty for double the rest. It'll be a 2-base hit. Now you got Bill Sample, who doesn't have power versus righties. Brian Downing is still available on the bench. You have to figure he will come to the plate as a tie or lead run if that happens. But Sample will swing away here. 6-12, skies the right C. Now you have Ron Jackson and then Blackwell. So here's Ron Jackson. 67 for Ron Jackson. Double 1-11 is a base hit. Single dot. That will plate DeCinces. It's a 5-3 game. And your batter is Blackwell, Ford, Baylor, Almon. And I think they might just go to Brian Downing here now for Blackwell and let him catch the rest of the day. So that's the plan. That's the pinch hit. So Jackson's at first with 1 out in a 5-3 game. And your pinch hitter's Brian Downing. Let's take a look at Brian Downing. 326 hitter, 12 home runs in 1979. Could be the final at-bat with this card. And they're going to have to move him into a future card. Probably also move him into the outfield in the 1980s. Downing will actually stick around in California for some time. So, but this could be the final swing with his 1979 card. Runner at first, 1 out. The pitch to Brian Downing. 63. Pitcher X. E18 for Hume. He's a 2E18 pitcher. And it's a error on Tom Hume. So no game-ending double play. He kicks the ground ball, and the game continues. And here come the Angels. Door kicked open. You got the tie runs on base, and now you got number 9 hitter, Disco Dan Ford. And here's the pitch to Dan Ford. 65 off of Hume, homer, 1-7, double the rest. It is gone, and Dan Ford has given the California Angels the lead in the 9th, as Hume has blown it for the Brewers. It's 6-5 with 1 out. Back up top to Don Baylor. 39 pops to second, and with 2 outs, it's Bill Almon. 59 bounces to second base. The Angels, 4 runs in the 9th inning. Downing will take over for Blackwell at catcher. Samples in the outfield. Let me just make sure who's out of the game. Yeah, Flannery's out of the game for Almon. Molinaro's out of the game for Sample, with Baylor having to play the outfield. And Downing's in as a swap of catchers, which means Pocarova is the DH. 6-5 game, bottom of the 9th. Mark Clear, relief 3. So it's Clear's breaking inning. You got to beat Clear. Period. He ain't going anywhere. Point of weakness or whatever if it pops up. It's Cooper, Lezcano, Ogilvy, Thomas in front of these fans in Milwaukee who are shell-shocked that their beloved Brewers were one pitch away, and they got an error and then a homer from going to the LCS, and now they may have to go to California if they don't rally here in the bottom of the ninth. So leading off, it's Cecil Cooper. 1-4, misses his column, and he skies to right field. It'll be Sixto Lezcano. 2-6, let's take a look at the Lezcano card for him. A .321 year, 28 homers in 1979, really. His best year and his last really amazing year. And then he's still decent after that, mostly in a platoon role. He played for the Phillies, I think, the Padres, a bunch of teams. 2-6, double one is 16. He gets the double. So, it's Ben Ogilvy with his 41 homers. Then Gorman Thomas with his 45 homers. Trying to walk off the Brewers into the LCS against Mark Clear, who does not have any homers on his card. Great matchup here. Runner at second, 1 out. The pitch to Ben Ogilvy. 52 is a sky to center, and it's going to come down to Gorman Thomas. Let's take a look at the Gorman Thomas card. If you want a guy to come to the plate in the bottom of the ninth for a walk-off homer, I don't know who else you would want. If there's somebody out there, let me know. If it's just a home run and nothing else. 45 of them in 1979, plus the 98 walks, 175 strikeouts. A 1-2 E4 in center field. I think he was the Gold Glove winner. Here it is. Big moment here for Gorman Thomas and the Milwaukee Brewers. You're probably not going to get an RBI single in this situation. It's either probably going to be all or nothing. The pitch to Gorman Thomas. 56 off a clear is a strikeout, and the Angels have upset the Brewers in Game 4 and stunned the Brewers and send the series back to California for Game 5. So I'll just put this, I won't do a summary since I got to play another game for you folks. We know Clear gets the win, and he went 2 1/3 innings. So he'll only have maybe an inning availability, if that, in the final game. Tom Hume takes the loss by blowing it in the ninth. That's the final. Milwaukee blows this game. The Angels, they had scored 3 runs in 3 games until the ninth inning here. They'd get a 6-5 win, and we'll come back with a deciding Game 5 in California. Stay tuned. Well, welcome back, baseball fans. Let me show you the box of Game 4. We didn't actually do that when we did the wrap. So Mark Clear got the win, 2 1/3 innings, 2 hits, and a K. Hume in an inning, it was 3 hits, 4 runs. Only 1 was earned because of the error in there, but it was his own error, depending on how you look at that. McClure did go 3 innings, giving up a hit, 2 runs, and 3 walks. Really, Slayton had 5 shutout innings. Unfortunately, got knocked out because of an injury. And unfortunately for Milwaukee, Slayton's not available because he went 5 innings. Haas isn't available because he can't pitch on 2 days rest. So Milwaukee is limited to Vukovich, Caldwell, Larry Anderson, and if you want to go back to Tom Hume again. Meanwhile, the Angels are going to send Nolan Ryan in Game 5 with Dave Frost coming out of the bullpen instead of these other guys. Frost can come in. He can pitch on 3 days rest. So with that, let's take you into Game 5. Oh boy, folks. Game number 5 here. We have Pete Vukovich for the Brewers instead of Caldwell, because he got bombed in Game 1 that you saw, against Nolan Ryan. And this is a nice, tight game. No more weird lineups. The Tim Flannerys and the Biff Pocorobas are banned to the bench at this point for the Angels. They're just going to stick with all these righties and just live with it. And, yeah, they're starters. Top of the second, a Lezcano double, a Gorman Thomas double off the Nolan Ryan card, 1-0. Bottom half of the inning. A Baylor walk, stolen base, scores on a black ball single, tied 1-1. 5th inning here, they get to Vukovich. A guy, like I said, he walked 9 guys in his start. Well, in this start, I think he's walked 6 or 7. But anyway, a walk, single K, single, 2-run single by Bobby Grich, a single by Blackwell, it's 4-1. He's still in there because they don't have enough pitching left. It's literally Vukovic. I mean, Travers is a lefty. Colwell's a lefty. McClure went 3 innings yesterday, and Hume got bombed. But Hume would be available to come back. Larry Anderson, like I said. Top of the 6th, good news for the Brewers. A Yount double, RBI single Lezcano, and then, hey, Gorman Thomas. He had an RBI double. He's a 2-run home run. This is a 4-4 game. But in the bottom half, they get to Vukovic again. A single walk, sac fly, and they go to Larry Anderson in the 6th inning. They were hoping they could push Larry Anderson to be the closer today, but it looks like he's going to have to pitch for a while. And that's where we're at, folks. We are in the 7th inning. Nolan Ryan is pitching for the Angels, and Larry Anderson is pitching in relief for the Brewers. Angels lead 6-4. Every time I pick up this, the road team comes back and wins. So I don't know what to expect here with 3 innings to play in front of you. But we're going to pick it up in the top of the 7th inning. Nolan Ryan, and it'll be Jim Gantner. 2-12 for Gantner. Fouls to the catcher. Sal Bando, 58 is a K. And back up top to Molitor. 66 for Molitor. Double 1-5 off the Ryan card. And he misses it and rolls a 9. If you recall, way back at the beginning of this video, I was explaining that I thought that 79 Ryan is one of his best years in California, where he really limited the walks and became much better than just a 500 pitcher. And yeah, it showed, as he has a chance to win 2 games here in this divisional round. 6-4, Angels seemingly in control now in a seesaw series. Stretch time in California, and yeah, we're still in this Tusk LP. This thing is just on loop. It just never ends. We can't do anything about it, folks. This just goes on and on and on. Back to the game. In the bottom of the 7th, Larry Anderson has to stop the bleeding. This Brewer pitching staff was brilliant in games 2, 3, and up until the 9th inning of game 4. And then since then, it's Angels have woken up in a big way. The experienced Angels trying to get to the league championship series for the 3rd year in a row. And the Milwaukee Brewers trying to win a postseason series for like the first time ever. They've never done anything in this carryover league. So let's see what we got here. Bottom of the 7th, Larry Anderson. It'll be Doug DeCinces leading off against them. 4-5 off the Anderson card. It's double 1-7. It's a base hit. Tim Blackwell, 2 for 2 plus a walk. 5-11, second X. This is Gantner, who has made 2 errors in this series. Yount's made 3, which is ridiculous. But anyway, the 2E16 second baseman, that's a double play. So Gantner bears down and does very well. 2 outs, Dan Ford. 2-4, bounced to short. We'll go to the 8th inning. Ryan's not going to leave. You have to hit his point of weakness to get him out of there. And like I said, Dave Frost would come in and close this thing out. And they trust nobody other than Mark Clear, who's unavailable because he pitched a lot in game 3. McClure, unavailable. So that's what we have here. Robin Yount, leading off, 6 outs to get. We were writing the Angel obituary in game 4. We were talking about the end of Brian Downing's card and the end of all this. I got to rewrite the script now with 6 outs to go. And Robin Yount could be his final at bat in this season. 1-7 for Yount, though. Triple 1-5 double. That's a triple. And so Robin Yount has a single, double, and triple. And we're only in the 8th inning of a 6-4 game. Okay. Oh, this is just nasty. So they got to bring the infield up for the 8-bunter, one of my rules, which I think is silly, but I do it anyway. Infield's up for Cooper. 6-12, center X. Center fielder is Dan Ford, a 2E9 in center. And that, look at that, is a fly ball 8. That's no sac fly off a 2-range center fielder. So Yount must have stumbled coming out of his blocks, and they figured, well, he's not the tie run anyway. He'll stay at third with 1 out. They can still score him on a ground ball. Lezcano. But again, Lezcano's also an 8-bunter, so the infield goes up again. Okay, the pitch to Lezcano. 5-12 with the infield up is a strikeout, and with 2 outs, it's Ben Ogilvy. If the Angels don't score here, we could give credit to Dan Ford's defense. So, Ben Ogilvy is the batter. We haven't taken a look at his card. Maybe that'll help him. Ogilvy, he only had 41 homers and a .304 batting average in 1980. Plus, very symmetrical card to make it even tougher for opposing pitchers. Ben Ogilvy, big moment here. One of those 41 homers would really come in handy. The pitch to Ben Ogilvy. 30-40, he misses his column and he bounces to first. We go to the bottom of the 8th. This is Larry Anderson in his 3rd inning of relief. He's only relief 2, but that's where we're at on the Brewer season. Ron Jackson leads off. 48, second X. This is Gantner. 2-16 at second base, and he gives up a single. Oh my goodness, folks. We could write lots of reasons why both teams have won and lost this series, but I'm telling you, Gantner and Yount have been terrible defensively in California with 5 errors and a couple singles now off of Gantner. Can't do that in playoff games. Jackson's at first. Bill Almone. 1-7 is a K. Bob Molinaro. 3-10 flies to right. And with 2 outs, it's Brian Downing. 47. That's going to be single 1-7 off Larry Anderson, and he gets him out. So Larry Anderson does the trick. But we go to the 9th of a 6-4 game. Ryan is a starter 8, no point of weakness. This is the Ryan Express. He literally would have to walk in a few runs before we hook him here in the 9th inning. Nolan Ryan, with this 79 card, has been very, very good for the Angels in the last few years after really kind of stumbling in the middle 70s with all those cards that had the 300 innings, the 200 walks, and the 200 strikeout cards of like 77. But this Ryan card's been really good. 3rd time with it. Trying to get back to the LCS in the 9th. Nolan Ryan in his last stint with the Angels where we have to ship him to the Astros. Here's the pitch to Gorman Thomas, who is 2 for 3 with a double and a homer. 2-7 for Gorman Thomas. This is single 1-3. Line out to short, and that is the disadvantage of a guy who hits 244. You're just not going to get the hit chances to fall. Now you've got Charlie Moore. Let's take a look at Charlie's card. Well, he hit 300. Oh, these Brewers. 300 for Charlie Moore. Batting 7th, because somebody has to bat 7th. Power versus righties. And he did that in about 460 plate appearances. B. Steeler to boot. He can even run. The pitch to Charlie Moore. Needs to get on base so the tying run can come to the plate. 1-4 is a fly ball to left, and with 2 outs, it's Jim Gantner. And if you really want to improve your chances, I don't know, you've got... Well, you know what we're going to do here, folks? We are actually going to do a pinch hitter. We're just going to count the hits on the pit hitter's card and find a batter who has more than Gantner. And this is Dell Austin. Let's take a look at Dell. We've had such a crazy series, we might as well finish it in a crazy way. Here's Dell Austin. This is his first at-bat in this divisional series. He's been on the bench the whole time because they decided to go with Sal Bando defensively at 3rd base and Molitor DH. Normally Austin is the DH, and he's actually pretty good. He's a .290 hitter, plenty of walks, ability to get on base. Again, he's a pinch hitter, and this is the mood for that sort of thing. So here we go. With 2 outs in the 9th inning, the pitch to Dell Austin. 2-7, and that is a 3-finger strikeout. It would have been a strikeout for him, a pop out for Gantner, a ground out for Romero, and a strikeout for Sanchez. Folks, ain't Milwaukee's year, folks. It is not the Brewers' year. As the Angels, this team that you cannot kill this team. They are back in the League Championship Series for the 3rd year in a row. trying to win a World Series, and the stunned Brewers, they got to figure this out. They've got an incredible roster, but they're going to have to say goodbye to the 79 Lescano card. They're going to have to say goodbye to the 79 Gorman Thomas card. And Caldwell's 79 card. And the Angels, back to the LCS. We'll do the box and carry this one out to the end for you, folks. Wow. I mean, the Angels were playing so poorly until they came back in the 9th inning and scored 4 runs. And here we are with these Angels. I mean, till they're dead, you know, and the fact that you got Nolan Ryan available to pitch Game 1 and Game 5 of a series and throw complete games both times, you know, 7 hits, 4 runs for Ryan, 2 walks, that'll do it. If Nolan Ryan's want to go walk a couple batters, you know, you'd certainly take that. He gets a complete game. Larry Anderson tried his best, did a decent job. He came in and faced Brian Downing here. Gave up a walk, 2 hits and a K. Vukovic didn't have it this time. We thought the magic that worked in Game 2 when he went 9 innings, gave up 3 unearned runs, was going to continue. It did not. We would have liked to have had Moose Haas available for 2 starts. We could not do that. And the problem is Moose Haas pitched the wild card game. So there is something to the fact that if you do not get a bye, you just can't get your pitching lined up. Vukovic gave up 10 hits and is charged with all 6 runs. Coming in the middle innings, everything's earned. Walked 5. Walked 14 men in 2 starts. And takes the loss. 1009, 0108, 612, 47. 612, 47, 2663, 6326. If there's something to look forward to for the Milwaukee Brewers, you have to remember they don't go to the World Series until 1982. And so Yount's MVP card is in its first year of use. So we do have 3 more cracks at it for him. So it's not like they're going to break up the Brewers anytime soon. Angels, however, they're going to lose some good players in this offseason. You know, Brian Downing, well, that card will go away. We'll still have good cards. Baylor's card's going to go away. Gritch's card's going to go away. Nolan Ryan is going to go away altogether. These teams are only a game apart in their record, you know. We'll begin with these Angels. They're 19-12. They hit in 283. The ERA crept up to 334, but it really was, you know, good pitching. The one blowout, of course, they started a left-handed pitcher, and the Brewers pounded him for 12 runs. That's typical. But otherwise, the Angels have had good pitching in this series against a very good Milwaukee team, getting the contributions by Ryan, Frost, Witt did a decent 6 innings, and Mark Clear. The other pitchers just were vacated. They said, that's not going to work. So the Angels now, 10 homers. Ryan's 5-2. And how about the Milwaukee Brewers? So the Brewers, 19-14, 283 with a 3.55 ERA. Moose Haas sitting there with a 6-1 record. Got a win in this series. But Vukovic, Haas, Vukovic, and Slayton lost only 3 times this year. They're 19-14. Those guys went 11-3. We saw one of those 3 losses just now by Vukovic. That's a shame for the Brewers. They've got some really good stats. They scored 170 runs, and they gave up just 138. Let's check out the Angels. I'm kind of curious. The Angels scored 175, giving up 127. So there you are. The Angels really, have played better baseball than I've seen. They just need to give up on using their bench players, I would say. when you look at this a little closely, Danny Boone was brought in to lose a game. Ross Baumgarten, the lefty, got lit up and lost the game. They used Tim Flannery. He made a couple errors, and he was awful. Pocoroba. So when they had to just dip into the reserves, the California reserves are horrible. Doesn't matter, though. California is in the League Championship Series. There it is. They are in the League Championship Series. California Angels beating the Brewers in 5 games, 3 games to 2. And they will await the winner of the New York Yankees and the Expos. Oh boy, that'll be a classic. All right, folks, thanks for checking out all these games. Congratulations to the Angels back into the League Championship Series for the 3rd year in a row. We'll see you next time.